2018, I put out a self-titled EP, but it was over like a year of trying to catch up to the thing I had just released. Like I didn't have any plan. I didn't have the songs all done. It was just like, okay, the first song's out. People seem to kind of care. Okay, oh my God, I have to do the second one. Oh my God. And it was just like a very stressful time. And so I felt, and I put out a couple singles since then, but I felt specifically with this EP, especially because I was producing it all myself. I was writing it all myself, except for one song, which features another artist, and we wrote it together. It felt like I just didn't want to be playing this game of catch up, and I wanted to have, especially if I wanted to have the ability to be pretty agile on my feet with releasing and making decisions in the post creation, starting to like market and promote it. And to me, it felt like I needed to have a big sort of package of like all the songs finished, all the alt versions for sync ready, music videos, all of the images, everything like that. So that was very, that was very deliberate, but it also equals so much time. And I originally was hoping to put this EP out like last fall pretty much, but then I got and it wasn't done by then. I did a writing trip where I shot this film actually in Cambria, California. And I had like a couple of these songs. This is a 6-song EP. I had a couple of these songs like done, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this writing trip, and it's going to be my last, these are my last harvesting of songs. And then I'm deciding what songs are living and what songs are not going to go on it. And then I'm moving into full production. And so I think that was, what is this year? It must have been 2019. Yeah. So I think we did that writing trip in like February, March. And then I was into production, and then I very luckily had this Hulu film drop in my lap in August of that year, and I had to essentially set it aside. I worked on that movie. I wrote 5 original songs and co-scored it, and I had to set it aside from like August to February essentially because it was like it was a lot of work, but it was, it all worked out because it brought more people to my music because of that film. And anyway, so it was a long process. Well over a year for sure. And then when quarantine started was when I was like, okay, finish the production. Yeah. Do it, please.
How was that transition into, releasing your own stuff and pushing your stuff out there independently? And I'm really interested in what you're saying with the first EP, where it was kind of like a song at a time and you were playing catch up the whole time, versus this one where you wanted to really like have the space to work on the release side of things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful for the timing, because I had things pretty much ready. Like I had intended to be releasing in the spring, and then the pandemic happened, everything happened with the uprisings with Black Lives Matter. And it just like, I watched friends of mine who had released like the week of the shutdown, and it was like really heartbreaking. They had put all this energy and budget and, like total self-starter, ethos into a record, and then the timing just got so weird with putting music out. And so I felt that by having it all packaged and ready to go, I did have that luxury of being like, I'm just gonna see how this plays out for a minute. Like I'm just gonna, and then I even set like I think I probably set this release date for October 16th in like early September, and I was like, it's too soon. It's not like I'm not gonna have enough time. Yeah. And then I found myself like having weeks of just being like, all right, I think I'm like pretty much ready to go, because I made all of my own assets as well. Like we did this whole big shoot. I had all of this stuff, all the footage, but I still had to make. Like I feel like I've spent my whole last month in like Adobe Suite just making visual things.
Did you edit everything yourself? Like edit the video, or
I didn't edit the video, but I edited like all the social media assets and things like that. All the little all the design and all the little
that stuff is time consuming, right?
It's so much work, especially when it's not like I know a bunch of quick presets or like a bunch of shortcuts in those programs. Like that's, my brain saves that for Ableton. But I think that this is maybe the first EP that I'm like, I believe in it, and I believe in what I have to offer, so I can approach people that I'm like hiring at a very independent budget, but I can be like, hey, I believe in this work. Do you like it? Do you want to help me run my social media like calendar, essentially? Just like help me get all the posts up, help me figure out, optimize every platform. And I think that when you approach people in a way that is like, I know that I'm not paying your normal full rate, but I will pick up all the slack that I can, and like I really care and believe in this project. Obviously, they have the right to say yes or no, but I do think that like I've noticed the people I brought onto this work with me, and they're excited because I give a shit and I work really hard at it. And so I think that that is really, like it's like passion project versus, I'm not like Nike hiring somebody to do a whole campaign for me, but it might be more rewarding for whoever is coming on to help me in this promotion side of it, to work with somebody who like really cares and really believes in themselves.
Have you got someone on who's like helping with social media strategy and all that kind of thing?
Yeah. She just finished up, but I had her basically up through the video release. Yeah.
Okay. And was she kind of designing like an overall strategy or a game plan for you? Is there anything you don't mind sharing with us about like that
absolutely.
process and how to design a campaign?
Totally. So she basically like built out a calendar where it would be like, we'd kind of go week by week, and she'd be like, I have these posts up, like, let me know if you approve, and then I'll get them scheduled. But I gave them, like, usually she works for an agency, and usually they would be like making all the assets and everything like that too. But I was like, I'm indie and I'm going to make everything myself. I'm going to give it to you. Here's my whole big folder of the options that we have for content. And just help me get it all organized in a way that is going to make sense as far as like interfacing and posting, essentially. Okay. And so she built out a calendar, and it would be like, whatever platform it was, what the copy was going to be, what the asset was, what the thumbnail was going to be, any kind of notes that I had, I would tweak the copy, things like that. Optimize the YouTube videos, like get all the right tags, get all the right whatever it is. I just started my TikTok as well, so nice. that's been an interesting. I think there's a lot of crossover with like the production tutorial world as well.
And which platforms are you focusing your energy on?
Honestly, I would like to be focusing most on taking a nap because I need it. But yeah, I think my most active worlds are probably Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, honestly. Yeah, TikTok is like new and growing for sure, but it's such a weird thing. It's like you can go from 300 followers to like 2,000 followers the next day because a video just like did really well in the algorithm. Yeah.
How are you finding TikTok? I saw when you'd posted a couple of your TikToks on the grams, like how you made a sound and stuff like that. Is that kind of the world you're focusing in there? Like, is it more here's how you make things in the studio, or are you doing a bunch of different stuff?
Be like, oh, this is kind of a cool little thing that I'm working on, and like this is a short film I was scoring, and I was like, I'll make a little quick tutorial. I'll just turn on ScreenFlow, which is a great program, and just do it. And I made a little thing about how to like do automation on a audio region hi-hat. So I was working in clips mode, and I was like drawing in panning and pitch automation on the actual little region instead of like adding a whole, I didn't want to like do it and I didn't want to add auto panner. I didn't want to like mess up whole automation lanes in that whole track because it was like multiple cues, whatever. And so I made this thing, and then I put it on TikTok, and there was just tons of like, a lot of people were like, this is really rad, awesome. And people were being respectful, but then there were like these dudes that would be like, why don't you just use auto panner? It's way easier. And so I made a little song. And people got a little mad at me, but I made a little like, I don't know, because vocals, I just think that it's funny to like sing little cheeky songs and like 3-part harmony and whatever. So I made one that was like, yes, it's true, there are many ways in Ableton to automate. The reason that I showed you that way was because I wanted to only affect this audio. Please stop mansplaining production to women. And people got mad.
Amazing.
But yeah, and then it's been funny. It's been funny because there's been mostly people that are like, yes, this is great. But then there's that like one person that's like telling me what is and isn't mansplaining, and then it's like
mansplaining.
You're mansplaining. So I made another little song about mansplaining. So I think that, moving forward, I'm going to get off the mansplaining thing because it's like, it can be quite divisive, and that's not really the vibes I'm trying to spread, but also like, it's just funny. It's just internet commenters. That is a whole thing, but it is funny. They are cool little catchy songs. So like, if anything, go check out the TikTok for the little ditties. They're like Andrew's sister's 40s little female. Like music is so used on that platform, and you can search whole artist catalog, and it comes up as options, kind of like with with how like Instagram stories, you can add people's music. So people can just like a song and make a video to it, and then you can find that person. You can find every video that's been made to your song, which is very cool. Do
they pay like streaming royalties and stuff? Like, is there an actual solid business side, or is it just like an amazing discovery kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it will monetize eventually, but it right now is like, no, it's just like, it's sometimes it can translate over to streaming and actual like monetized things, but other things, like it's funny, there are songs on there that are like these trending sounds that I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize it from that TikTok like trend, but then it turns out to be like a Weekend song, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even, that's on the radio, like I didn't even realize that that's the same thing. So I'm not sure how much cross-pollination there is with like people hearing something on TikTok and then leaving TikTok to go find what it is and invest in that artist. It'll be interesting to see kind of how that shakes out.
So we're talking about like monetization on TikTok. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about just like the overall business of making music in the modern era? Obviously it's like there's infinite permutations, but sounds like you were saying you kind of built like your living, like your day job in a way as being a vocalist for hire.
Yeah.
But you've been able to like expand out creatively what you're doing more and more and more as time goes on.
Yeah.
Which sounds like that's also then generated more and more opportunities which have fed back into that side of things. Is that kind of a safe way to say? And are you like very actively working on kind of diversifying your overall income streams?
Yeah, it's super necessary. So I started, like I was saying, being known because I was a singer and because I could record myself. And so I moved to LA in 2010. So that was still like, I had an M-Box and I had like a little crappy mic, but it worked. And then sort of as my network, I had some great mentors. Gabriel Mann is a wonderful composer. He used to be in a band called the Rescues. And he at that point was composing for Modern Family. He did like all the music for Modern Family essentially. And he's done a lot of other things, but he became a mentor because my partner was working for him as his assistant. And so he's like, oh, your girlfriend can sing. Cool. Like let's have her on this, whatever it is. And so it kind of just continued to be like word of mouth, like, oh, she can sing. Oh, she can also write. And she can get you stems in 2 hours. Like, hit up my friend Keeley.
That's a pretty baller resume. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just...